hope that everyone out there is taking care of themselves and staying safe. So what is this whole thing about being prepared? It's a mindset, and it's a mindset that everyone should have, that events can and will happen in our lives, as we're seeing right now. It's about taking care of yourself and your family, and you do this by making and having a plan, and also thinking about and preparing emergency supplies. What it's not is building a bunker in your backyard, unless you really want to, or cleaning Costco out of toilet paper, which I still haven't figured that one out yet. But it's a mindset, because the wrong time to get prepared is after an event. So having a plan for emergencies is pretty simple. It can come down to having a family meeting place in case you have to leave your home for some emergency. Let's say there's a fire or flood or something like that. Having a place where everyone can meet or knows where to meet in your city. You can also do this if you have to leave your city and have to go to another part of the state, or you have to leave your state entirely for a hurricane evacuation or something along those lines. You also want to be familiar with existing emergency and disaster plans. And these can be found at work, at your children's school, medical and or transportation facilities, and other places where you might spend time. Summer camp for your kids is a good example. Being familiar with, or at least knowing that these things exist and looking them over and being familiar with them, will help you and your family also plan during an emergency. You also want to develop a family communications plan. And what I mean by this is, everyone has their cell phone these days, and all their information is on this, which is great. And you definitely want to have your cell phone in an emergency, but don't over rely on your cell phone. You need to have emergency contact information written down in numerous locations and given to all your family members, including the ones you don't really like. This way, if something happens to your cell phone, if the battery breaks down, if it gets wet, if it gets crushed, you still have emergency contact information that can be used once you get to an area where you can communicate with your family. During emergency situations and disasters, historically, texts work better than phone calls. So before you start trying to call somebody, text them first. It's easier for text to get through. Since we're talking about cell phones, having extra cell phone chargers are important, especially in an emergency situation. A lot of people have them today anyway. Buy an extra one, keep it in your car, keep it in your go pack, just in case you need that extra juice and you don't have another way of getting it. And also, with your cell phone, look at government websites and apps. The federal government has some really good apps that you can download and use, including FEMA and ready.gov. There are semi-government websites like the American Red Cross. American Red Cross has an excellent hurricane website. It's an app. They have a website also, but the app is outstanding, and I would highly recommend those of us in the Gulf Coast download and use that one. And then also look at all your state and city and county and parish Homeland Security and Emergency Management agencies. All states have Homeland Security and Emergency Management agencies. Most cities do, counties and parishes, they all do, and many of them have apps. Another thing you can download to your phone and be able to get information quickly, and it's good information about keeping you safe. Other things to think about during emergency situations are family members with disabilities. This includes medicine, making sure they have at least a 10-day supply. Some medicines require refrigeration, keeping them cold or cool. So these are things that you might want to consider. If you do have a family member that has special needs, they're immobile, they need a wheelchair, or they need a special vehicle with wheelchair adaptability or anything like that, let your local community know, your city, your county. A lot of places have agencies that keep track of this information and can help in case of an emergency. Pets, a lot of us have pets. A lot of us have multiple pets. How will you get your pet out? How will you evacuate? Do you need a crate? Do you need at least 2 cars to get all the pets out? You know, these are things to consider. Food, water, and medication is also important. You don't want those dogs and cats to start looking at you in weird ways. So you need food, water, and medication for pets also. So don't forget about that. And talking about food and water, a good rule of thumb for water is that it's a gallon a day per person per pet. So for people and for pets, they all need a gallon a day. Now, a couple of ways you can get water or have water in emergencies. You can buy bottled water at the supermarket, which is a good thing to do. You just have to watch the expiration date on some of that. You can use what we call life straws, water straws. These have filters in them, so you can attach to, or you can put this in a stream. You can put this in to water of a questionable source, and be assured that you're going to not die from some virus or something in the water. You can also get this blue can water. The good thing about this, it has a 50-year shelf life. The reason it does, it has a special sleeve inside. It keeps the water fresh and tasting like the day it was canned. Because it has a very long shelf life, it's more expensive, but it's an option for you. You can find this on Amazon. You can also find it in a lot of sporting and outgood websites and stores and things like that. Another option is purified drinking water that comes in a pouch like this. This is something that you find in a life raft or something similar to that. These usually have a 5-year shelf life. You can check on the back right here. And again, these are good to have in your car or a go pack. They don't freeze, and they're a good way of keeping water that you know will be in a safe place for when you need it. And then lastly, for food, I would recommend looking at something along the lines of this. This is an SOS emergency ration. Again, this is kind of what you find in life rafts and things like that. You can buy this commercially. It also has a 5-year shelf life. You can see it on the bottom here. This is a good thing to keep in go bags in your car because it's freeze dried, or it's vacuum packed, I guess. And it will not spoil, it will not melt, it will not do other things like for example, if you have energy bars, those are going to be disgusting if you keep them in your car all the time, and when you need them, they're not going to be good. Okay, I've been talking about go bags. So what is a go bag? A go bag is basically a bag that contains essential items that you can grab and go, and these items will keep you going for at least 3 to 5 days. That's the minimum. 7 to 10 is probably what you should shoot for. Now, there are 2 kinds of go bags, and I have them here. There are ones that are pre-made. This is a company called ProPack out of South Carolina. They put these together for us a couple of years ago, and they have just the essentials that you need. It's a pretty light pack, but again, about $50, $50 to $75, you can find something like this. Again, you can find them on Amazon or other websites like that. But because I'm such a geek, I also have made my own, which is right here. This is a waterproof backpack. You can see that right here. And if you make your own, it allows you to kind of customize it for what you want or what you find important. Some things I have, in mine, I have a can opener, which you can always use, a bandana, a poncho, eating utensils, and things like that. But the basic items that you want in a go bag, we've already talked about food and water and medicine, all very important. Water is essential. You have to have water. For medicine, probably look at a week's supply of medicine. Again, you don't know when you might get more medicine or the opportunity to get more medicine. Gloves and masks. I carry actually 2 different types of gloves. I carry the surgical gloves, and then I also carry like work gloves. Masks, you can go with the basic. This is an N95, keep out, dust and pollen and things like that. You can find other masks at Lowe's and Home Depot that are bigger and do better things. I also carry goggles in mine. Um, this next thing is vitally important. Duct tape. Duct tape is vital to any go bag. You have to have duct tape in there. It can fit everything. It can fix everything from hoses on your car to repairing things to keeping things tied down. Very important. Next, first aid kit. I would probably invest in a better first aid kit than this one right here. And you may also want to think about a tourniquet, but this is a good start. You need to have something that at least has some antibiotic ointment in there, some Band-Aids and things like that. Okay, next, flashlight and lighter. This is what we used to call a safety flashlight in the military. Very cheap. I mean, it's not expensive, but it works. And unless you're really an outdoorsman and you like starting your own fires, just carry a Zippo lighter or a Bic lighter with you in case you need to start a fire or you need some fire source. Next is a knife, tools, whistle. What I carry is a Leatherman, and this is that tool. This is the tool right here. Gerber, I think, also makes something along the same lines. This is a very compact. It has everything from a knife to pliers to screwdrivers, can openers. Anything you need in a pinch is here. It folds up into a very small area like this. Again, you can throw it in your bag. Doesn't take up much space. Good to have in your car. Good to have in your go kit. Radio, right here, can be a cheap radio. It can be a disaster-specific radio. This is important so you can keep track of what's going on and get important alerts. Toilet paper, enough said about that. And then extra clothes, hat, and bug spray. Another very important item, I would carry a hat, and not just any hat, but a hat like this that can keep the sun off you in case you have to be in the outdoors and you want something to keep the sun off your head and also off your shoulders and your neck, or you're going to be miserable pretty fast. And that's another reason why you want to also carry bug spray. You know, this is off deep woods, but carrying bug spray is pretty vital because, again, you may be out in the woods away from your car. And then lastly, you may be gone for a few days. You may have a lot of downtime waiting for things to happen. So books, cards, puzzles, toys for the kids is all very important. Other things to consider. Keep at least a half a tank of gas in your car, and this applies especially to the Gulf South during hurricane season. Some of us like to play with the little light when it comes on and, oh, I got 20 more miles. Don't do it. Just keep half a tank. If you can, keep as full a tank as you can. As an example, in 2004, there was a hurricane that was headed towards New Orleans. This is the year before Katrina, and a lot of New Orleans evacuated, and I spent 10 hours in my car on I-10 over the Lake Pontchartrain. It was not fun, but I had my tank of gas and I was good. So just something to consider, something to do. Second thing is money. During emergencies and disasters, ATMs probably will not be working, and I probably wouldn't want to go to an ATM during that time. So you need to keep at least $500 in a safe place that you know of, somewhere in your house, that you can use in emergencies. And this is not pizza emergencies, this is real emergencies. And I would also keep, I'd also make up this $500 in small bills, nothing larger than 20, because I doubt a lot of people will want to make change during an emergency situation. You also need to keep your ID and important documents in a secure location. And when I say important documents, I'm talking about social security cards, birth certificates, insurance policies, passports, IDs, credit cards, anything that cannot be easily replaced. And you need to protect them from both rain and fire. What I use is something like this. This is a security fireproof bag. It's very easy to put your important documents in here and just throw this in your bag or just grab it and go. So this is very important. Make sure that you have something like this and keep your important documents in there. We mentioned kids, keeping them occupied if they have a favorite stuffed animal or games, books, things like that. Again, if you're caught on the road for hours and hours, you want to keep the kids happy and occupied. And then finally, actually, I forgot one thing. Glasses. Make sure you have spare glasses. I always keep spare sunglasses with me in my go bag. If you wear contacts, make sure you take additional contacts with you. But make sure you think of those things also. And then lastly, go through your go bags every year, and this is to make sure that the supplies are good. Like I mentioned, check your food, check your water, make sure those dates are good. Check your flashlights, check your batteries. It may be a good idea not to keep your batteries in the flashlights, but keep them separately because batteries will leak, and you don't want to find that out when you need it. So every year, actually I do it every April. This year, since we've had a little bit more downtime than usual, I go through my go bags and make sure everything's good and up to date. And since we are living in the Gulf South, I just wanted to mention a couple of things about hurricanes. It's very important that you sign up for your community's warning system and know if your area is in a flash flooding area or it's at risk for flash flooding. Again, flash flooding is just that. It's flooding that happens without much warning, and it's vital that you know if you're in an area that floods quickly. Become familiar with the evacuation zone and route. Know which route you're going to take. And then also get rid of missile hazards and prep your home. And you want to do this not at the last minute. You want to take care of missile hazards, and those can be everything from flags and flag poles to I can't think, but anything that could be used as a missile hazard. And then if you need to put wood up over your windows and things like that, do that early enough where you're not stressing and you're not stressing to getting out of town. And then finally, I can't stress this enough, do not walk, swim, or drive through floodwaters. If you encounter floodwaters and you're in an automobile especially, back up and find another way around. Many people don't heed this advice and get themselves into trouble. And then during and after a storm, if you use a generator, make sure it's only used outdoors. Never use it inside. Do not touch electrical equipment that you're not absolutely sure about. If you see power lines down, don't touch them. Avoid wading in floodwaters. Again, stay away from it. And then document property damage. And you can do this. A lot of insurance companies these days have apps on your phone that you can take pictures and send it automatically to your insurance companies. And so take advantage of that and actually use that. So I want to thank you for sitting in and spending a few minutes for me. Hopefully this wasn't too quick. If I did go kind of quick, I apologize. I did want to say that we have prepared a PDF that will be on our website, which is sopa.tulane.edu, and it includes the major parts that I just talked about. And it's in a PDF form. You can download it. You can keep it in your go bag, keep it in your car. And we will be adding more things as hurricane season is upon us. Unfortunately, we are looking at hurricane season, even though we're dealing with everything right now. And again, if you're interested in learning more about emergency management, what it is, what makes it up, homeland security, or anything like that, please check out our programs at sopa.tulane.edu, emergency and security studies, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. So this concludes my part, and I don't know if there are any questions out there.
Hey, Mike. Thank you
Hi.
for that presentation. I have a go bag in my car as well, and hopefully I never have to use it, but I do feel safer knowing that it's there. So if you are watching, I'm looking at the Facebook comments right now. We haven't had any questions come through yet, so we will stay on the line for another minute or so. So
Okay.
if you have any questions for us, just drop those into the Facebook comment section. All right, doesn't look like any questions have come through. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today for this presentation. We hope that you have found it most helpful. And Mike, do you have any last words?
No, thank you for watching, and everyone stay safe out there, and always remember to keep it in the back of your mind to be prepared.
Great, thank you guys.